Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tailor Made, the program where you ask your questions and you get them tailor made by Hamline University head football coach Chip Taylor. In our December program, the coach talks to us about what it was like to coach his seniors for the last time. He discusses if he'll be looking for a more balanced offensive attack next year, and the coach tells us if Rob could catch a pass against him. So let's get right to Tailor Made. So let's welcome back Coach Taylor for our December edition of Tailor Made. Coach, do you have any team updates you'd like to talk to us about?
The 2016 team is dismantled now. It was tough to watch a lot of those guys leave because the seniors that came in, they really took a chance on Hamline. They came when this was a 1-9 football club, and they changed it to 2-8, then 4-6, 4-6, and now to 5-5. So it was tough, but now we are gearing up for the 2017 team.
Well, let's look at this last weekend that you had of the season a few weeks ago against Bethel. A very hard-fought battle. You come up a little short, but finished 5-5. You have to be excited about the future of your team.
Yep, the Bethel game was a tough one, tough pill to swallow. First play of the game, didn't start out in our favor. We snapped the ball over the head, and a couple plays later, they go down and score. But it's a teachable moment for our guys that we have to play 60 minutes, and when you start out the first minute of the game bad, that's what happens. So it'll be a good lesson for us in the future. It was an interesting year. The ball bounced in some ways that were good for us at times and bad for us at times. So for us to finish 5-5, with this being my first year, we have to take it as a great stepping stone. So,
talking about your seniors, you mentioned a few moments ago. How hard was it for you to coach those guys on their last game?
It was, I guess, everything before and after is the hardest part. The coaching part of it is the easy part, but just thinking about all when I first got here, those guys got here, and now to see those guys leaving, that was pretty tough. We use the word love in our program a lot, and I made sure I told those guys not just on that day, but throughout the season, I love them. And that last day, to tell those guys that was pretty tough. But I just want to make sure they know that we appreciate them and their efforts, and we appreciate them taking a chance on Hamline and them getting it turned around.
A lot of key guys graduating from your team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Do you feel like you have players coming up that are ready to replace them, or are you going to be out recruiting for that?
A little bit of both. You have guys in the pipeline and in the program that you feel good they got a chance to watch and learn, because some of the kids that left were 3- and 4-year starters. And then you're always recruiting. You're always trying to recruit to your school and to your team, and like I tell our guys on our football team, we're trying to recruit guys that are better than you, so that gives them a little bit of motivation in the off season, and we're trying to build this team and build it the right way.
Looking back on the 2016, what's your overall assessment of the team?
I think our 2016 team showed a lot of grit. They're very tough, very special. Again, for that reason of those seniors taking a chance. We'll use the 2016 season as a teachable season, because there's a lot of things that we can learn from it. From close games to games that got out of hand. So it was a good season. I would say it was a good start. It was a good start to me being the head coach here.
Now that the season's over, what does your schedule look like in terms of what you do now?
Man, it's a lot of evaluating, a lot of ripping and running on the road, setting the schedule, for the upcoming 2017 year. It's just so many things from a day to day, that you have to do. There's not even a chance to take a breath. The game's over on that Saturday, and I'm in a high school on Monday morning, trying to find again some of our next pipers. So there's no rest. It's a grind. It's go go go. But that's college football today. So we enjoy it, and we embrace it, and we got to do a good job with it. So
you talked a little bit about recruiting. How is that going for you? And are there already players who've committed to come to Hamline?
Recruiting is going good. We're off to a really fast start. I think we're actually a little bit ahead of where we were at this time last year. As far as commitments, no, not right now. But there are guys that we're really close with because of financial. Division III is a little different with the financial aid piece and them knowing what exactly the cost is going to be. But there's a lot of interest in Hamline football, which is good. We're excited about that.
Absolutely. Well, let us head to our fan questions. The first one comes from Mark from St. Paul, who says, are you looking to have a more balanced offense next year, or is Justice Briggs such a talent that you have to let him be the focus?
Mark, great question. as a defensive-minded coach, you want to be able to run the ball a little bit more. We couldn't do it as well as I would have liked to this year. So we're always going to try and be balanced. Now we're fortunate that Justice is special. When he's back there and he's looking over the defense and putting the ball in different receivers' hands. So that's a blessing to have. But we have to do a better job of moving the football on the ground. So we're going to always look to start every season around here to be balanced. But sometimes it just gets shifted and skewed in a certain way.
Lindsay from Bloomington would like to know. She says, Coach, big fan. After the success of the team this season, do you see a 6 or 7 win season next year?
Lindsay, great question. The thing, I make sure that I'm very careful with our team is putting number expectations on these guys. Like we said, a 5-5 season. First year for me being in charge was solid. For me to say 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know if that's really fair for our guys. I just know we need to be better next year than we were this year. So we just want to constantly see improvement. Lindsay, I'd love to say we win them all, win 10 and go into the playoffs and not lose and win the whole thing. But, I don't think that's fair. We got to see what kind of team we have and continue to keep building. But I will say this, we want to be better than 5-5 next year.
Gene from St. Paul asked a question that a lot of people actually sent me questions about. Says, Coach, I know a lot of the time when a coach has success at a school that hasn't been winning, that there are a lot of other schools around the country that want to lure that coach away. Please say it ain't so.
Gene from St. Paul, good statement. I guess it is a question as well. That happens. That's the nature of this business. It's almost like military, man. You kind of move around a little bit. But like I said before, when I took this job, the administration here is such a big piece to it. President Miller and Jason Verdugo, they make it almost to a point where you don't want to leave. So, to answer your question, Hamline's where I'm at right now, and I want to make sure I continue to do a good job of it, and I'm looking forward to 2017.
We had quite a few professional sports questions for you this month, and so Dan from Washington, D.C. asks, please tell us that the success of the Cowboys is a mirage in some ways.
Dan from D.C., I'm assuming you are a Washington Redskins fan. The Cowboys, they're a thorn in our side too with the Philadelphia Eagles. So they have a big game tonight. It'll be interesting to see how they do, but I don't know if it's a mirage, man. They can run the ball and they got a quarterback who's making great decisions. So, I hate to say it, Dan, but they look for real.
Jerry would like to know from you. Everyone thinks that the addition of Kevin Durant to the Warriors makes them a sure lock to return to the title series. Don't you think that they are a little small to be able to go all the way?
Oh, I tell you what, man. When you got a guy like a Kevin Durant on a team with some good players, I think they have a shot. I don't know necessarily if they don't necessarily have a big guy, but I just think the talent of Kevin Durant with the talent that he joined, I think they're going to be very tough. It'll be interesting come June.
We have a few Philadelphia 76ers questions for you. First is Andre from New York City. He says, I know that you have your own issues with the 76ers, but how can the Knicks be so mediocre all the time? Don't you think that time has passed by Phil Jackson?
Andre, what's going on, man? Yeah, we're kind of in the same boat there. Actually, the Knicks did come out here and get a win versus the Timberwolves last night. I saw that. New York is a different animal now. With that being the mecca of basketball, you would think that they would do a better job. I can't say too much there, Drake, because the Sixers are not too far behind. But Phil Jackson's a great ball coach. Does time pass them by? That part of it, I don't know. I don't know if I'm educated enough to speak on it. I just know what they do offensively. You listen to people talk about the triangle, and it doesn't seem like that's working too much anymore. I guess with the pieces he had when he was doing it, those were special players, and I don't know if the Knicks have those pieces in place. So maybe it is time to try and run a different system. So I don't know.
I guess there's only a couple of Michael Jordans and Kobe Bryant.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sean, who says he's originally from Philadelphia, says, if the Cubs won the World Series, there has to be hope for the 76ers, wouldn't you say?
Sean, what's going on, man? There's always hope. You will never give up hope, man. So, we're gonna ride and die with our Philly teams, and we're gonna love them to death when they're great, and we gotta love them when they're bad, man. So we just gotta continue to keep working and keep pulling for them, and hopefully the Sixers can get it going. But yeah, seeing the Cubs win definitely gives hope. It's been a long time since they've done it, so hopefully we can get a championship back in Philly.
Valerie from Egan would like to know if you offer camps where younger players can come and learn from you and members of your staff.
Valerie, good question. We have not done that in the past. That is something that we are actually going to talk about as a staff and do. We do offer a camp here, but it's not specifically for football. It's more of an all sports camp. So it gives young people a chance to, try soccer, try swimming, try track. That's something that we've had here over the years. But as far as just a football camp for younger people, we have not done that yet. But that is something that we're going to be communicating and talking about, seeing if that's worth doing. So.
And I take it if you would do that, we could talk about that in future shows so people could get
Sure.
information. Awesome. Alyssa from Sioux Falls would like to know, how concerned are you that, as a coach, that parents seem to be expressing a lot more concern about letting their sons play football?
Great question, Alyssa. Football, again, I'm biased because it's a sport that I fell in love with at a very, very young age. I'm not concerned because I think, it's the biggest it's one of the biggest sports in the world, and soccer being the biggest. But I mean, in the United States, man, football is something that people gather around on Sundays and Saturdays and sit and watch. So I understand the concerns of the health parts of it, but as far as me sitting around worrying, are there going to be football players a coach in the next 10, 15 years? I just I don't worry about that because this is one of the best sports out there. So I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Talking about football around the world, Sergeant Randall, writing in from Germany, says, Coach Taylor, a lot of places in Europe are really getting into American football, but the skill level is not great. Do coaches like yourself have the opportunity to come here and teach in places like Germany and Finland? I think that players would really benefit if you were able to do so.
Wow, Sergeant Randall, man, it's good to hear from you. Appreciate all your efforts. I have not done something like that, although I know some of the coaches that I've come up into the profession with, they have gone overseas and worked with teams in different areas. So I think it is a good way to promote the game that we talk about football. But I have not done that, and I do think the players would be able to benefit from it. I mean, maybe it could even be like we go over and teach football, and then they come over and teach soccer. So I don't know if it could be like a joint effort like that, but so.
That's a great idea. Oh, we're not burning down. That's good. Next up comes from Andrea from St. Paul. She would like to know what your favorite part about Christmas is.
Andrea from St. Paul, good question. That's easy. The part about Christmas I like the most is just being able to be around the family. That's priceless. Even though I'm not a child anymore, you're not looking for something on a Christmas tree, but just the fact that all your family gets together and get a chance to catch up and laugh and smile and eat together, that's the best part of Christmas to me.
Next up we have John looking for a little relationship advice. He says, Coach, need a little advice. I have been dating my girlfriend for about 8 months now, so this is our first Christmas together. Not to look cheap or anything, but what is the acceptable amount to pay on a Christmas present when you've only been dating this long?
John, great question. You need to be careful with this one. I can't put a number on it. What I would say is this, John, and I'm just being honest. I'm very truthful with my guys. I would say, depend on how much you like this young lady, and if you really see this thing going further, you better not be cheap on it. You better err on the side of a little bit too expensive if you really like her. Now, if you're not sure, then that's different. But if you really like the young lady, I think you err on the side of of spending a little bit more coin than less. So, good luck, John.
Good advice to all those young men out there. And our last question of the week, a mean-spirited question from Ashley from Wichita, says, if you were defending Rob, would he be able to even catch one pass against you?
Ashley, great question, and that is 100% no, he would not be able to. So,
but thanks for joining us this week, Coach, or this month, David.
Thank you. All right, man, good time.
We want to thank Coach Taylor for joining us on Taylor Made this month. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Hamline coach, please send them to us at chiptaylor@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's Chip Taylor at minorleaguesportsreport.com. During the off-season, our program will be recorded on the first Thursday of each month, so we just ask that you provide us with your questions on the Wednesday prior to that each time. We'll see you next time. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, wishing you all a Merry Christmas.